expected. Yoo-hoo, welcome back. The theme of today is do it anyway. Sometimes moving and actually living abroad can be a little bit like, looks like fun, sounds like a really good idea. Most of the time it works out, but there's always going to be some days where you're like, I just want to go home. I picked a spot where sirens are just constant. For me, the days that I find challenging are the days that things are going on back in Canada and I can't be there for them. We've had this situation where we've only been here since March. It's currently August. So many things have happened back home and are continuing to happen that we're not there to deal with. That's life. Like, that's what you sign up for. That's what we signed up for. So we have to deal with them from here. What I find helpful is trying to get out and explore. And to be completely honest with you, I didn't feel like it this morning, but here I am. I'm in Green Park because this is what we do. We have things to do. We have to carry on. A really big bug in my ear. We show up. Why am I in Green Park this morning? Well, that's because I purchased a ticket to go to Buckingham Palace Gardens, and I'm taking you with me. So this vlog has really changed in my mind. I went from, oh my gosh, Buckingham Palace Gardens, I'm so excited to walk through some sort of gate and check it out with my own eyeballs. Social media. Instagram pushed forward a news article that was talking about people's reviews of Buckingham Palace Gardens on TripAdvisor. It's not really news, it's like very sensational. Let's pull up TripAdvisor and let's see what the people have to say. Waste of money, very underwhelming, could turn a royalist into a Republican. What a title. Not worth visiting. Very little to it, and we were done in 50 minutes. My local park was better. Directions to the gardens were almost non-existent. 30 minutes to get in with airport-style security, not a good start. It's Buckingham Palace. There are just as many 2 out of 5 stars as there are 4 or 5 out of 5 stars. We've got beautiful gardens, amazing to be able to be so close to the palace, worth every penny. Like, what do people say here? Is it like worth a penny or like worth a pound or a pence? All I can say is I have adjusted my expectations appropriately. We have open minds. And just because you're not having a great day also doesn't mean you don't go. So we're going to put that in the back of our minds, walk on up to Buckingham Palace, around the back, because that's where you have to go, I believe. And we're gonna make the most of it. We're gonna go into Buckingham Palace Gardens together. So I guess the question is, will Buckingham Palace impress like a rose, or will it just bring this vlog to a close? We're gonna find out. Let's go. The tourists are back. Purchase your online voucher, then you have to go to the ticket office and you have to present it to them so they can print you off a ticket, then you go to the entrance. Ticket acquired. Moving on to the next gate. Having to exchange your voucher for a ticket. Silly. I don't know why they do that. Maybe they're trying to make sure that people actually show up for their tickets and then they can sell the other ones. I don't know. Today we are going to try a jam before clotted cream because in Bath we did the clotted cream before jam, so I'll let you know how that goes. Yes, airport style security. It's Buckingham Palace. You go through like the big security gates, look in your bags and wand you down if needed. It was fine. Like the hallway to actually go through security is like quite tight and small. I don't know where they would put people. And so I can imagine for some of those people who wrote reviews, maybe they were there on a weekend. It's kind of weird looking. It's supposed to look like that. Tastes delicious. I decided to buy a tour. You know what really sold me? It was the woman told me that I get to see the tennis courts. I don't know why that did it. You also can see the Rose Garden and the Queen's recycling system. Very curious to know what that means. Okay, no. Guys, the clotted cream post jam? No, it just slides all over the place. Who came up with this idea? I think I'm firmly on one side. No difference in taste. Completely different execution. It's clotted cream before jam. Sorry. It just dawned on me that I have no idea what's behind me. This couple came up and started trying to look in the windows and they're completely blacked out. However, her exercise balls and yoga blocks. So maybe it's where the queen gets her exercise when she stays here. Maybe it's the pool. What are we still doing here? We are currently walking along the herbaceous border with a number of different varieties of plants picked for their fragrance, their color, and their biodiversity according to the sign. Never used the word herbaceous in a sentence before.
If I open up my arms, I can see the skies. I can see the skies.
Smell divine. So I learned a couple of things from the tour. One, it was really hard to get you any footage because they were all over us about our cameras, but I might have been able to sneak a few things. This garden is 39 acres. There are 11 gardeners taking care of it. Instead of leaving patches of garden bed that aren't doing so well or planting grass over them, they've started to plant wildflowers and other kinds of species that will encourage pollinators and replenish the earth. I stopped to speak with a tour guide to get a little bit more information about the lake and the island. The island is completely naturalized. They do not groom it. That is where the beehives are kept, and the only people that go on to the island are the beekeepers themselves. The tour guide also spilled some tea. Since they decided to open up Buckingham Palace Gardens to the public, the media has been very interested in sharing negative reviews. What he was saying was, like, you have to remember that this is somebody's private garden. A human owns this garden and is shaped by the monarchy that owns it at that particular time. One of the goals of this garden, it sounds like, is to ensure that it is a natural looking and natural feeling space as you meander through it. Maybe that kind of answers why some people have had negative reviews of the gardens here, but I personally have really enjoyed them and I think they're quite beautiful. And he shared that underneath Buckingham Palace and like through much of London, there's an underground river. There's a name for it and I don't remember what it is. I think it starts with an R. Part of the reason why London has such problems with flooding is because of the underground flow of water. Buckingham Palace was built on top of this river. Prior to Victoria and Albert living here, the basement of Buckingham Palace used to flood with sewage water and would stink up the place for months. They decided like that wasn't gonna do. They needed to fix that. It sounds like periodically it's either a problem or has the potential to be a problem. That's humans for you. No, we just build what we want where we build it, and sometimes it stinks like it's raining. I'm just gonna sit here and hope that it stops. I don't want to leave yet. There is royal gin. I would like to see how much that costs. Maybe I'll do one more loop around and then we'll head out. so I didn't buy the gin. But now you know. They make it with ingredients found right from this garden, and they charge you £40. Coming in hot with a review. My initial reaction at Buckingham Palace Gardens. Not what I expected. But then I spent 3 hours there. So for the sake of your precious minutes, I'm going to condense this review into a cost-benefit analysis. Starting with cost. The adult ticket that I purchased at Buckingham Palace Gardens was £16.50. The tour, which was an add-on after, cost £6.50. The cappuccino, scone or scone, jam, and clotted cream, £8.70. Tube fare, round trip, £6. Plus the mild confusion associated with needing to exchange your voucher for a paper ticket. All of that brings us to a total of, because I can't do math in my head, I don't do numbers. I do thoughts and feelings and creative adventures. Let's take a look at the benefits. The grounds are beautifully maintained. It's a natural feeling space with a variety of landscapes and plenty of little places that you can sit yourself down to escape the buzz of the city. Granted, you can hear traffic because it backs right onto a main city street. The addition of a tour gave you the benefit of being able to see the remaining third of the garden that is closed off to visitors. But we did not see the tennis courts up close. The rose garden is a rose garden, and the queen composts 98% of her garden waste. I'm not sure that I would recommend it. However, part of me is sort of glad I did it. So is all of that worth the cost? I think there's one item missing that could tip the scale depending on your tastes and your preferences. This was and is, in my opinion, a novelty experience. This garden really does lack that wow factor that I think a lot of people would assume when they hear Buckingham Palace Gardens. There are no flower displays. There aren't any massive marble fountains, so if you're looking for a beautiful royal garden in London to lay around in and sip Prosecco, there are about 8 free ones for you to choose from. But if you enjoy the novelty of being in a historic royal palace garden, it might be worth the cost. It really is a do it once and you've done it kind of experience. In the end, I'm glad I did it anyway. Based on what you saw today, would you agree with my assessment? And would you have gone anyway? Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to give that like button some love for Elton. If you press it right now, I'll show you Kevin in his box again. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week.